What do you pick up when you're not sure if you're in the mood for some short stories or some poetry? Why, of course, John Buchan's The Moon Endureth.
What the hell you say?
Welcome, dear viewers. This is Vasil, the Backwater Librarian. On this channel we love to prowl through the backwaters of literature, and we have thus arrived at part 2 of our two-part series dedicated to the weird and supernatural stories of John Buchan. If you missed part 1, make sure to catch up. There we take a look at the man behind the tales, and we dissect his other weird short story collection, The Darkly Resplendent Watcher by the Threshold. Link in the description below. If you happen to find my accent too thick, a complete English transcript is available, and I might add some manually created subtitles in other languages later on. The weirdness continues in The Moon Endureth in an even more careless and playful manner. First published in 1912, it is a mashup of 10 short stories and as many poems, set against backdrops as disparate as ancient Greece and colonial South Africa. While the locales and time periods may be far apart, the overarching mood of the collection is an inclination towards the fantastical, the weird, and the unexpected. Thus, the subtitle of the book, Tales and Fancies, seems very suitable. The strange title itself, on the other hand, was most probably inspired by Psalm 72, verse 7. In his days shall the righteous flourish, and an abundance of peace, so long the moon endureth. That's all fine and well, but where do I find this book, you may ask? I've left a link to the free ebook in the description below. The one at gutenberg.org is sadly incomplete, so you'd have to go to this alternative site in order to get the complete package. It looks like it faithfully reproduces the original 1912 edition, though for some reason they smacked this hilarious 1963 paperback cover onto it.
Ugh. Brother, ugh. What's that? What's that, brother?
I don't know of any good and affordable printed edition, but if you do, I would love to hear it in the comments below. With that out of the way, let's take a look at some of the stories and poems. I'm saying some because if we're to systematically go through each and every one of the 20 pieces, we'd be stuck here till the cows come home. As usual in these overviews, I'll do my best to avoid any spoilers. The book opens up with a very fine standalone ode to the author's native Scotland, called From the Pentlands Looking North and South. Then we have 9 story poem combinations, and the book ends with the story The Rime of True Thomas, which made an appearance in our part 1 as well. The story poem combos sometimes follow the same topic, but other times seem to be only loosely related at best. The first story worth noting is The Lemnian. In it, we're transported to ancient Greece and introduced to a Phrygian from the island of Lemnos who chances upon and takes part in the famed Battle of Thermopylae. Buchan's classical education is again on full display. We have Atta, a Hellenized Phrygian who feels a slight disdain for the Greeks of the mainland, yet not so much as to run away when called upon. Maybe this is supposed to reflect how Buchan himself as a Scot viewed the English? Who knows? Anyway, more ancient Greek goodness follows, and we're introduced to the fabled Spartans, who to the wiry Phrygian look far larger and stronger than ordinary men, and they also seem to speak from the back of their throats, never pronouncing an S. Again, these are linguistic details which only someone with a classical education could know, and I must admit they did flatter the bachelor in classics in me. In conclusion, an interesting historical premise and a fine story. As a follow-up, we have the poem Atta's Song, the pre-battle farewell chant of the protagonists from the previous story. Not bad at all. Next we have the short story Space. We're back to the author's present day, where a mathematician discovers a hidden world in seemingly empty space. Nothing more to elaborate here. I'll let you read and experience it for yourselves. It's a pretty good weird tale which wouldn't look out of place in an H.P. Lovecraft collection. It is followed by the poem Stocks and Stones. This is, by the way, one example where the story-poem combination is only very loosely related. It is in the form of a monologue delivered by an Indian tribal chief to Sir Walter Raleigh. In a very innocent and likable manner, the chieftain explains why he holds on to his primitive, tangible idols and doesn't want to accept this new, frightening Christian god of the vast skies and unplumbed space. As a Christian, what can I say? We shouldn't force our religion onto anybody, and if someone's mental image of Yahweh is closer to that of Yog-Sothoth, then he's clearly not yet ripe for the Bible. An enjoyable little poem nonetheless. Now let's shift into a lower gear and take a look at a couple of slower, deeper, emotional stories. Streams of Water in the South is the story of an elderly Scottish man known for his uncanny ability to ford seemingly any body of water. Over the years he puts it to good use, helping out his countrymen during various calamities, rescuing livestock and people alike. However, times change, infrastructure improves, and the great floods of old become just memories. Will there be a place for him in this new world? A heartfelt story, deeply entrenched in local Scottish life. The Riding of the Ninemileburn is set in the medieval Scottish borderlands. An elderly and feeble reaver is called upon by a powerful relative to join a posse and help catch some English cattle thieves. The reaver does join, but has to leave his sick wife and child behind. An interesting historical premise and a heartfelt story. Well, we've saved the best for last. A story that is both emotional and genuinely scary while having a pretty unique premise. The Grove of Ashtaroth. Ashtaroth, or Ishtar, was the infamous sorceress goddess of the Near East, whose worship is believed to have faded away long ago. But has some obscure corner of the earth been hiding her existence deep into the modern age? And if so, what will it take to defeat her. What a great Bible-inspired story! Old Testament history is intertwined with our modern world and with intimate struggle and drama. My personal favorite from the entire collection. I'd not be telling the whole truth though if I wouldn't mention that not all of the items in this collection are great. Some of the stories and poems are mediocre at best, while a few are utterly unenjoyable. Take for example the story A Lucid Interval, an impoverished Indian noble poisoning with psychedelic drugs the curry of high-standing British officials in order to sway their opinion this way or that? Chock full of British colonial and social politics and absolutely tedious.
It's a complete crap.
But fortunately, such items are few and far between and don't manage to overshadow the good stories and poems in here. So my final verdict remains relatively high, 3.5 stars. Varied in themes and viewing angles, rich in language and expression, this collection remains an intriguing little mix of fantastical, strange stories and poems by the reputable Scot. I'd say the best way to read it is in between other, longer reads. It's an ideal book to have on your e-reader, tablet or phone and pop it out while commuting or before bedtime. It's guaranteed to get you distracted and provide you a temporary escape from the grey everyday routine. That was it for today, guys. Let me know in the comments below. Have you read some of the pieces from this book, or maybe even the entire thing, and how did you find them? Would you like me to cover some particular story or poem in a dedicated video? I'd love to hear from you. Please leave a thumbs up if you liked the video and make sure to subscribe and help me stay on YouTube for the long run. As for the near future, this much I can promise. I have some great weird fiction content coming soon, so stay tuned. And remember, the Backwater Librarian guides you through the obscure pathways of literature. Thank you for watching and pleasant reading.